Hey, what's up? It's Kit. Time for another video, and today I'm gonna rig this. This is literally one of my favorite jigs, and I mean, I was actually one of the guys that field tested this before its release, and this is a very effective jig. But there is kind of a problem with this jig, and we're gonna talk about it before we actually rig this. And although there are several ways to rig this, and I mean, how people rig it right now, even officially, works. Okay, I'm not saying that my rigging would be better. However, I found that to increase the effectivity of this jig, you kind of have to go out of your way. Okay, so if you look at this jig, the eye is actually kind of well, it's not, it's vertical. All right, so what happens is that when you look closely, put another split ring here. Okay, instead of actually just using one split ring, what happens is that the hooks are on the sides. Okay, and usual for slow jigs is that they will sit here at the back. You can get away with putting a smaller split ring and a smaller split ring, and then also a smaller solid ring, which makes it kind of stand there. But the thing is, it should be flat. Okay, it should be flat. And one of the most effective rigging methods that I have come across for this is actually putting a single hook on this thing. And I don't normally do this. For jigs of this size, but this by far is actually kind of the easiest to do in this particular jig. And if you actually upsize the hardware that you use, it's actually quite effective. Alright, so we're gonna do that now. And as you can see, this is a brand new jig. I bought it too. Kind of a challenge to do this. And first we find the hooks that we're gonna use. So for this particular one, we will be using Chase 7.0. Okay, before we even do that, this is the method that I will use. Alright, so first we take the length of the jig without the eyes, because we will be splicing this, and you will take also the length of the okay, so we will be cutting up to there. Alrighty, then take our needle. Okay, so needle, this is a big sewing needle, a really big one. Alright, so I found this, and I've been using it with great effectivity in splicing, especially for bigger jigs, bigger cord. Alright, so that's that. And then we take the jig and we put the cord straight from the jig. Obviously, this gives you a lot of advantages, and this gives you also a lot of disadvantages. But I found that the hooks actually are positioned way better with this particular style of rigging. Okay, so okay, that's it. Okay, and then what we need to ensure is that the hook or the loop here is big enough so that it actually moves freely. Okay, so I am adjusting that part right there. Okay, and we want it to move freely. So for that, we take our needle, put it between the braids that we have put there, and then we just kind of twist it so that it loosens up. All right, and then it becomes quite loose, like so. And then adjust it. That's it. All right, so that's the first one. Now, what that does is actually make it so that the hook position right there will be better. All right, you can see there. Okay, so once we tie our hook there, okay, the hook would hang up to here, like so. And then we could do another one, which is now the object of this is that once you put everything in your solid ring and split ring here, okay, the hooks would actually behave the way they're supposed to, and they're going to be lying on this the way they should be. All right, now if you put a solid ring, a split ring here, and the solid ring will actually sit like that. Okay, the solid ring will take on the same position as the eye, and it'll be like that. Now, unless you put a really tiny solid ring, that thing is going to be very unstable. It's going to be like all over the place, you know, right? Because it doesn't sit flat here. Now, this would have been a very awesome jig if the eyes were turned sideways. I don't know. I mean, maybe I could talk to Hiroshi again and ask him why the eyes are vertical. But the more worrying part about for me is that this should have been flat and this could have been left vertical. That's fine. It's just that this thing for me should have been flat, you know, like that, on a different plane. I'm pretty sure he had this reason for this, but rigging it kind of difficult with that sort of thing. So again, I'll have to say that this is kind of a preference thing for me, and I found that rigging it like this makes it work way better. I mean, I have used this rigging before because you know, I saw this as a potential issue, and when I did it, the catch rate for this actually soared because I do miss a lot of fish. If it's not tuna, I'll miss it, you know. So after using this sort of rigging, my catch rate actually went up. So, you know, tells you something. Alright, so now you will pierce the hook and position it. Like that. Alright, now the hard part here is that you're gonna have to tie it with the jig attached, and not a good experience, but well, we make do with what we have. All right, so can't really complain there. All right, so let's go ahead and, I mean, you know, for you guys that actually tie this, or tie assist hooks without a vise, that's, you know, this is a walk in the park. You know, this is like business as usual. And I've done that, you know. First few times I actually tied it by hand, or first few months actually of tying assist hooks. I still haven't figured out the use of the what do you call this? The use of the fly tying vise, which I had because I was tying flies when I got into jigging. I was like, oh my god, man! You know, that makes it so much easier. So after discovering that, that was it. The rest is history. So again, this becomes even more difficult when you're tying the front hook, because there will be a hook that's actually dangling with the jig. So kind of a challenge. Now, or what you could do, and which we can try here, all right, is to just put it on the vise. See if for smaller ones wouldn't be much of a problem, but for bigger ones, it could be a problem for some vices, and I would advise you to be very careful when you're doing this. Of course, an alternative is to not splice it onto the jig. There is another alternative which I will show you probably down the line. But this is something that, I mean, I'm probably gonna make this a members only video, because it's honestly, tying this is not kind of safe for the general public. Alright, so probably not gonna show this publicly. Now, if I'm gonna show this to some people, it will be people that would be in my kind of, I have a group of people that I send videos to before everyone else sees it. So they see this first. But the Kensaki rigged like this is really deadly. There's some goofy rigs that you find online for rigging the Kensaki. I've actually found this American guy that rigs it with treble hooks, and if it works, it works. That's all I can say. But definitely rigged like this with single hooks, fishing for tuna, works so well. And because of the single hooks, also fishing it in structure for amberjacks and stuff like that, they actually become a bit more effective. And these things have caught some really good fish over the years. When it was first introduced, and we were testing it out, there was one time that we had a trip and we used nothing but these. Like, everyone on the boat used Kensakis, and we've caught everything from longtail, yellowfin, snappers, and all this. It was kind of amazing to see that. As you can see, I messed up. All right, so I'm gonna bring you guys in a bit closer just so you can see what's happening with this thing. All right, so I messed up. I wanted you guys to see the jig hanging there too the whole time, and all right, there we go. So I'm not using a rotary vise because there's a lot of people that don't have rotary vices, and they might think that the rotary gives you a lot of advantages, and that, you know, for certain things it does, but not for everything. As you can see here, I'm actually spreading the wraps, all right? And one of the reasons why is because this thing slips. Now, The reason why this is slipping is not because, okay, that won't slip anymore. My concern here is to actually cover and bind the cord and make sure that the cord doesn't move, because this is for big stuff. And guess what? For this particular one, what's gonna happen is that once this is cut, damaged, you won't be able to replace it on the boat, and this is the main disadvantage of this type of rigging. However, for me, the biggest advantage of this is the effectivity that it brings to the table. So all I want for this is to work well once, and that's it. All right. When this is called for, you know that this rig will work 100%, and that it will stick the fish. That is it. That is all you want. It's just for this rig to work on one fish, and if it doesn't damage, then you'd be able to rig it on your rod again and use it several times until it falls apart, and that is it. So you can see here, you have to use two hands, both hands to tie it, and be able to do a good job here, make it faster, but it's well worth it. Alright, so if you take the time to actually do this, it will work well for you. Alright, there we go. Now, all we have to do is just make see, this is difficult. I'll tell you, this is difficult, because from here you're gonna have to like really pull on this, put this jig in like so. Again, do it. Okay, see, not easy but doable. Alright, last one. Alrighty, then didn't screw up, but that's what you want. Okay, for that to sit there and it stands, because when it goes down, because when this goes down, you want this hook to be in position here and actually standing up, not going sideways. So what we're gonna do, since we're already here, is glue this up, and I think I'm gonna actually going to shrink wrap it. So we have our super glue here, which is in its last stages really. Take this off and be very careful with it. Okay. Again, I'd like to say, even if we're gonna be covering this with shrink tube, just because we're doing that is not an excuse to make or to do a slot. Alright, so we have the super glue drying. Now we just have to, I'm gonna use red right there, and then you need to stretch this out. Alright, now the super glue is still kind of wet, and we're gonna use that to our advantage. Okay, now we are going to zap this Okay, be very careful when you're doing this. We are using blue flame. There we go, that is it right there. And as you can see, because we used blue flame lighter, kind of the surface is kind of shiny. That's one. And two, it hugged the whole thing. So we have this, all right, and then it's sitting nice. It should actually sit nicely here. Okay. So when it's going down, it's just going to get positioned like that. Now a trick here, okay, just so, is to actually put a little bit of super glue onto this part right here. All right, let's go ahead and do that actually, so you guys can see. Just a tad bit of super glue. Okay, I'm gonna put it like that. Okay, tad bit of super glue here. And what that does is make that part stiff so that it doesn't actually kind of move around too much. And when it does, it basically just swivels it. Okay. Like that. Don't put the stuff in the middle. It's just the base. And a bit here, even if it's stiffened by the even if it is stiffened by the shrink tube. So just there, okay, hold it in place for a few seconds. And if you have the spray, you can go ahead and spray it actually, which I have here, okay, just so we know that. Alright. So after zapping this, that thing would have dried up, and it should give it a little bit of rigidity, not a lot, okay, not a lot, but it helps it be in position. And I like it like this so that I know that when I drop it, it's gonna be like that, all right, in that position. I don't really care much when I am retrieving this and this hook is trailing, because the hook would be here. And remember, the perceived head of the perceived head of the jig is always going to be the side or the end where it's headed to. So if this is sliding down, the fish will think that this is the head. When you're pulling it up, the fish will think that this is the head. Now, after this, now what we're gonna do is just put on another hook here, and I'm gonna do that. And we'll meet back after I put everything. There I go with the solid rings going sideways and all that. If you have an insert, it kind of makes it miss the fish. Alright, so with this, at least, you can see that you're in position, the hooks are in position, going up or going down, and it just works, and it tangles very little. Okay, now with this, okay, you just have your solid ring and a split ring, a load bearing split ring, and a small split ring like a GT or a GP ring, which works perfectly with this. And you'll find that this is very effective, a very, very effective rig. All right. Anyway, I hope this video actually isn't because camera just stopped for a few times there, so I'm hoping that it's not gonna mess things up. Anyway, so there we go. That is, I would call the secret weapon Kensaki rigging. I'm definitely going to make this just a member only video. But yeah, anyway, if you guys got questions, you know where to find me. Leave it in the comment section, and then if you want to talk to me, reach out or whatever, I'll give you contacts on Instagram, where you will get preferential members will get priority chat. Okie dokie. And I'm just gonna keep it there, because in the next trip I will be using this for sure, and I'm gonna show you guys what it catches. So take good care when you're actually putting these back to the containers. What you don't want is for these cords to be folded. Alright, so probably a good way when you do this is tape it. Anyway, if you guys have questions, go ahead and reach out. You know how to reach me. Instagram would be the easiest. If you have questions that are kind of lengthy to answer clear-wise, just drop them down in the comment section, and I'll get back to you. Anyway, so that's it for now. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Class dismissed.